I transmigrated into a book. Not voluntarily, because I had a stroke of luck on my way out, and, what the hell, my life got a hard reset. I was depressed about being reborn into a book, and the stingy system only gave me 20,000 yuan to save the currently young and helpless female villain, Sun Yini. So I spent 19,800 to rescue her from her parents, and then spent 12 years raising her into a gentle, intellectual, and formidably kind lady boss. Love can truly flesh a person out. Poor little Sun Yini went from under 77 pounds to a mature 121 pounds, and my contribution was indispensable. Seeing her new life, growing towards the sun, I thought my heart is at peace. Lewin, I'm telling you again, this girl is a real catch. You better be sharp. She's a proper white-collar worker at a Fortune 500 company. If it weren't for the fact that I'm her mother's boss, an opportunity this good would never have come your way. Over the phone, my aunt's voice was sharp enough to pierce my eardrums. I sighed and cleaned out my ear. I know, Annie. I'm already on my way. Remember, when the bill comes, you be proactive and pay it. Don't be a cheapskate and embarrass me. I hung up and let out a long sigh. 12 years. It had been a full 12 years since I spent all of the 20,000 yuan the system gave me to buy 8-year-old Sun Yini from her monstrous parents. My mission was to prevent her from turning to the dark side and becoming the ruthless, world-wrecking female villain from the book. Looking at the graceful, accomplished Sun Yini now, excelling in both character and her studies at a top university, I felt a deep sense of relief. The mission, I guess, is complete. I, Lewin, am an ordinary librarian with a monthly salary of 4,000, no car, no house, but with a peaceful heart. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Sun Yini. Dad, do you have enough living expenses this month? If not, I can transfer you some more. Reading her message, a warmth spread through my chest. This girl, always worry that I'm not doing well. I replied, it's enough. You keep it for yourself. I'm going on a blind date today. Can't talk much. After sending the message, I pulled a crumpled 200 yuan bill from my pocket. This was the last of my money for the month. The blind date my aunt set up was at a high-end Western restaurant downtown, where the average cost per person was at least 500. I sighed and sent a message to Sun Yini. Nyin Nyin, emergency, lend me 500. The reply was almost instantaneous. Dad, I've transferred you 10,000. The password is your birthday. Let me know if it's not enough. I stared at the long string of zeros on my phone, stunned. Where did this girl get so much money? I quickly tried to call her back, but she didn't pick up. Oh well, it's probably money she saved from a part-time job or a scholarship. The little girl is all grown up with her own little nest egg. Feeling delighted, I walked into the restaurant. A gaudily dressed woman sat by the window, impatiently scrolling through her phone. That must be her, Zhao Lily. I walked over and smiled politely. Hello, are you Miss Zhao Lily? I'm Lewin. She looked up, her eyes scanning me from head to toe, her disdain unconcealed. You're Lewin? Dressed so shabbily, I thought you were a waiter. The smile on my face stiffened. Sorry, I'm used to dressing casually for work. Zhao Lily snorted and pushed the menu in front of me. Order, don't be polite. It's not like I was planning on letting you pay anyway. I have no interest in taking advantage of a poor man. Looking at her spiteful face, blood began to rush to my head. Ah, you fucking idiot. Do you really think you're all that? If it weren't for my aunt's sake, I'd turn around and leave right now. I suppressed my anger and said lightly, Miss Zhao, please order whatever you'd like. It's my treat today. Zhao Lily looked as if she had just heard the world's biggest joke. Your treat? Is your monthly salary even enough for this meal? Stop pretending to be richer than you are. As she spoke, she deliberately raised her hand, showing off the flashy Cartier watch on her wrist. See this? This watch is worth 2 years of your salary. We're not from the same world, understand? She pointed at me. Her voice wasn't loud, but a few nearby tables had turned to look. I only came today to do my mom a favor. After this meal, we're even. Don't ever contact me again. I was so angry I had to laugh. I picked up the glass of water on the table and watched her quietly. Just as I was about to splash the water on her plastic surgery face, my phone rang. It was Sun Yini. I answered the phone, trying to keep my voice as steady as possible. Hey, Yin Yin, what's up? Sun Yini's crisp voice came through the phone, tinged with a hint of worry. Dad, are you at the restaurant yet? I happen to be nearby. So I'm coming over to see you. Panic seized me. Why is this girl coming over? How embarrassing would it be for her to see me in this pathetic situation? No need. I'm fine here. You go do your thing. I'm already at the door. As soon as her voice fell, a commotion erupted at the restaurant entrance. Everyone's attention was drawn to it. An all-black, sci-fi-looking supercar silently pulled up at the entrance. Its sleek lines and exaggerated rear wing screamed, expensive. Even a car idiot like me recognized it. It was a Bugatti, and a limited edition one at that. Zhao Lily's eyes went wide, her mouth agape enough to fit an egg. Oh my god, a Bugatti la voiture noire. There's only one in the world. Which tycoon has come to our small town? Under everyone's shocked gaze, the car door slowly opened upwards. A pair of long, slender legs stepped out, clad in silver high heels. Then, a girl in a haute couture dress with a cool and stunningly beautiful aura got out. Her long black hair was casually draped over her shoulders. Her features so delicate they didn't seem real, especially her eyes, which carried an innate sense of aloofness and nobility when she looked at people. The entire restaurant fell silent. Looking at the girl, I almost dropped the water glass in my hand. Suni Ani? How? How did she become like this? This outfit, this car, she was a completely different person from the girl next door I knew, the one who wore white t-shirts and jeans and had a sweet smile. Soon Yini walked straight towards me, completely ignoring the looks of amazement, jealousy, and curiosity from those around her. She stopped at my table, her originally cool face instantly blooming with a warm smile as she called out sweetly, "Dad." A customer at the next table sprayed out the red wine he had just sipped. Zhao Lily's expression was as if she had swallowed a fly, turning from shock to utter disbelief. She looked at Sun Yini, then back at me, her eyes screaming, "This is impossible." My mind went blank. I subconsciously asked, "Ningyan, did you rent this car? It must cost a lot for a day, right?" Sun Yini blinked, tilted her head, and said with an innocent look, "Not expensive. A friend gave it to me." I looked at her, feeling my worldview being brutally shattered. Zhao Lily finally recovered from her shock. She stared intently at Sun Yini, her eyes filled with jealousy and unwillingness. A gift from a friend? What kind of friend gives a sports car worth tens of millions? Little girl, don't be fooled and help count the money for someone else. She spoke sourly, her words laced with insinuation. Lewin, not bad. I couldn't tell you had such a wealthy goddaughter. That daddy was said so sweetly. My face darkened, and I was about to explode. But Sun Yini beat me to it. The smile on her face vanished, replaced by an icy frost. She didn't even glance at Zhao Lily, merely sweeping her gaze around the surroundings. The restaurant manager shot out of his office like a cannonball. He rushed to our table, scrambling and sweating profusely, and gave Sun Yini a 90-degree bow. "Chair. Jai Wan Su. Why have you come? My sincerest apologies. I was blind and failed to recognize your importance. I didn't clear the area to welcome you in advance." The manager's voice trembled, his waist bent so low it almost touched the ground. "Jai Wan Su." My mind buzzed and went completely blank. Zhao Lily's face instantly turned from a jealous red to a terrified, deathly pale. She also worked for the group that owned this restaurant and naturally recognized this big boss who rarely showed her face. Sun Yini ignored the manager, simply extending a slender finger, pointing gently at Zhao Lily, and said to me, "Daddy, did she make you unhappy?" Her voice was very light, very soft, as if she were asking me what I wanted for dinner. But I felt a chill shoot up from the soles of my feet to the top of my head. Before I could answer, the fat manager had already grasped the situation. He spun around abruptly, pointed at the ashen-faced Zhao Lily, and let out a roar. "Zhao Lily, you're fired. Now. Immediately. Right away. Get the hell out. Furthermore, all industries under our group will permanently blacklist you. How dare you offend Chairwoman Su's father? You're asking for death." Zhao Lily went limp and collapsed in her chair, her eyes vacant, muttering to herself, "The chairwoman's father? No, impossible. He's just a poor wretch. A librarian." The manager gave her no chance to explain, immediately calling 2 security guards to drag her out like a dead dog. The entire restaurant was dead silent. Everyone looked at me as if I were a deity. I felt as if my internal organs had been drenched in ice water, my fingernails digging deep into my palms. I looked at the both familiar and strange Sunyini before me, opened my mouth, but couldn't utter a single word. Something about this world seemed terribly wrong. On the way home, the expensive leather seats of the Bugatti had me on pins and needles. The car was terrifyingly quiet, with only the sound of my breathing and Sunyini's. I mulled it over for a long time before finally speaking. "Nyin, that restaurant, do you own it?" Sunyini focused on driving, her eyes fixed on the road, her tone as casual as if she were discussing the weather. "I don't own it. It's a business of a friend's family. I just have a small stake in it, that's all." "A small stake?" "A stake big enough to scare a conglomerate's general manager out of his wits is what you call a small stake." "Huh. Your use of 'that's all' is truly damn masterful." I felt like my intelligence was being insulted. "What about the car?" "A gift from a friend, too." "Mukma, Sunyani, not that." He insisted on giving it to me. Said my old car was too old and unsafe. I recalled her previous old car, a Porsche Panamera worth over $2 million. Back then, she had also lied to me, saying it was a second-hand car that only cost $200,000. My heart was bleeding. As a father, I was such a failure. The daughter I had raised for 12 years was keeping so many secrets from me. I took a deep breath and decided to try a different angle. "Nyin, tell Dad honestly, are you involved in something improper out there? Like being kept by someone?" Screech. The harsh sound of brakes squealed as the Bugatti jerked to a stop by the roadside. Sunyini turned her head, her beautiful eyes instantly welling up with tears. With reddened rims, she looked at me, her face full of grievance. "Dad, how could you think of me like that? I worked so hard to build my own business, just so you could have a good life and not be looked down upon by others. Is that the kind of person I am in your heart?" Large teardrops rolled down her smooth cheeks, crashing onto my heart. I instantly panicked. My insides felt as if they were being squeezed by an invisible hand, aching terribly. Her crying was the one thing I couldn't bear. No, that's not what Dad meant. Dad is just worried about you." I fumbled to wipe away her tears. "Dad was wrong. Dad was talking nonsense. Don't cry, please don't cry." Sunyini sniffled and rested her head on my shoulder, her voice muffled. "I just started a small company, got lucky, and made a little money, that's all. I was afraid you'd worry if you knew, so I didn't tell you." "Dad, don't be angry with me, okay?" Looking at her pitiful state, how could I possibly stay angry? All that was left in my heart was guilt and self-blame. I gently patted her back and sighed. "Silly girl, how could Dad be angry with you? You're so capable. Dad couldn't be prouder. All right, let's go home." Although I still had a million questions, seeing how tired she looked, I decided not to ask for now. A small company, one that can make a conglomerate's CEO kneel, one that can give away a sports car worth tens of millions as a gift. Just what was the scale of this small company of my daughter's? Just 2 days after the storm blew over, my aunt called again. This time, her voice was no longer sharp, but carried a hint of flattery and eagerness to please. "Oh, Lewin, I didn't know your Yin was so successful. I was a bit harsh with my words before, don't take it to heart. I couldn't be bothered with her nonsense. If you have something to say it. Your cousin, Wang Hao, just got a promotion, right? He's hosting a dinner at the Tianhua Hotel tonight to celebrate. Bring Yin along, let the family get together and have a lively time." I originally wanted to refuse, but on second thought, Wang Hao is my uncle's son. He's disliked me since we were kids, always competing with me in everything. Now that he's been promoted, he'll definitely try to humiliate me at the dinner table. This is a good opportunity for Yin to teach him a lesson and vent some of my frustration. I agreed. That evening, I brought Sunyini to the Tianhua Hotel. As soon as we entered the private room, I saw Wang Hao sitting in the main seat, full of himself, surrounded by a circle of sycophantic relatives. "Yo, Lewin is here." Wang Hao saw me and stood up with a smirk. "This must be your amazing daughter, right? Please have a seat." He spoke politely, but his eyes were full of provocation. My aunt immediately grabbed Sunyini's hand, overly enthusiastic. "Oh my, this is Yin, right? She's so beautiful, even prettier than the stars on TV. Yin, where are you working now?" Your cousin is now a project manager at Tianhe Group with an annual salary of 500,000. You young people can connect more. Tianhe Group? My heart skipped a beat. Isn't that the group that owns the restaurant from last time? Sun Yini smiled faintly and answered politely, "Hello, Annie. I'm still in school and currently interning at a company." Hearing the word intern, Wang Hao's posture became even more upright. He glanced at me contemptuously, as if to say, "See, no matter how great your daughter is, she's still just an intern." After 3 rounds of drinks, Wang Hao began his performance. "Lewin, it's not that I'm criticizing you, but at your age, still messing around in a library, what's the point? Look at me. Even though I'm just a small project manager, I manage a dozen people. This hotel where we're eating today is one of Tianhe Group's properties." He raised his glass and said, as if he were the king of the world, "A man still needs to have his own career. How can you be a role model for your daughter like this?" The relatives all chimed in. "That's right, Lewin, you should think about Nian Yin. Wang Hao is right. What future is there in a library?" I emotionlessly picked at my food, too lazy to pay attention to this noise. "A bunch of idiots, just you wait. You'll be crying later." Sun Yini put down her chopsticks, took out her phone, and seemed to be sending a message. She looked up, smiled at me, and in that smile, there was a familiar taste of nuclear kindness. Seeing that I was silent, Wang Hao assumed he had shamed me into a corner and became even more smug. He cleared his throat and turned his attention to Sun Yini. "Nian Yin, is it? Which company are you interning at? Tell me, maybe your cousin can put in a good word for you. After all, in this city, I, Wang Hao, have a bit of a network." Sun Yini looked up, a playful smile on her lips. "Just a small company, not worth mentioning." "Oh, Wang Hao finit surprise. Small companies need connections, even more. Tell me the name of the company. What if it has a partnership with our Tianhe Group? I could even put in a good word for you with your boss, help you get a permanent position sooner." His condescending attitude made me want to vomit. Just then, the door to the private room was pushed open with a bang. A middle-aged man in a suit, followed by a group of hotel executives, rushed in, panting. The man in the lead was none other than the CEO of Tianhe Group, Mr. Li. He was the same man who had bowed a full 90 degrees to Sun Yini at the Western restaurant last time. Seeing Mr. Li, Wang Hao was so startled that he dropped his wine glass. He scrambled to his feet and scurried over with a fawning expression. Mr. Li, what are you doing here? What brings you here?" Mr. Li didn't even look at him, his eyes scanning the room like radar. When his gaze fell upon Sun Yini, he shuddered and then sprinted towards her with the speed of a 100-meter dash, once again performing that classic 90-degree bow. "Chair, Jai Doan Su, my sincerest apologies. I just received word that you were here. It is my dereliction of duty. I deserve to be punished." Mr. Li's voice quivered as if he were about to cry, cold sweat beading on his forehead. The entire room was plunged into a deathly silence. All the relatives were petrified, their mouths agape, wide enough to swallow a fist. The expression on Wang Hao's face was uglier than if he had eaten shit. He stared blankly at Mr. Li, then at Sun Yini, his brain completely short-circuiting. Mr. Li, you must have mistaken her for someone else? She's just an intern." Mr. Li whipped his head around, his glare as sharp as a knife on Wang Hao's face. "Intern? You're calling Chairwoman Su an intern?" He pointed at Wang Hao's nose and began to curse. "Wang Hao, are you fucking blind? This is the largest shareholder of our Tianhe Group. The entire group belongs to Chairwoman Su. And you dare to show off in front of the chairwoman. Are you fucking tired of living?" Boom! That sentence exploded in the minds of all the relatives like a clap of thunder. My aunt's eyes rolled back in her head, and she fainted from the shock. Wang Hao's legs gave out, and with a thud, he knelt on the floor. Wang Hao knelt on the ground, trembling like a leaf in the wind. His face was ashen, his lips quivered, and he couldn't utter a single word. Never in his wildest dreams could he have imagined that the Tianhe Group, his pride and joy, actually belonged to the intern he had just been mocking. And he, right in front of the chairwoman, had been bragging about his connections, showing off his status. This wasn't just showing off in front of an expert. This was performing a hanging at the gates of hell. The other relatives in the private room were silent as cicadas in winter, not daring to breathe a word. The way they looked at Sun Yini was filled with fear and awe, as if they were looking at a deity. I picked up my teacup and took a slow sip. The tea at this hotel is not bad. It cuts through the grease. From beginning to end, Sun Yini never even glanced at Wang Hao. She simply wiped the corner of her mouth with a napkin, then stood up and said to me, "Dad, let's go. The food here isn't good." I nodded and stood up with her. Manager Lee hurriedly followed beside us like a pug, bowing and scraping. Chairwoman Su is absolutely right. The chefs here will all be replaced tomorrow. I will immediately get you the best chefs from a 3-Michelin-star restaurant. As she passed the kneeling Wang Hao, Sun Yini paused for a moment. She looked down at him, her voice as cold as ice, devoid of any emotion. "You just said that my father's daughter should communicate more with you?" Wang Hao trembled violently and kowtowed frantically. No, no, no. Chairwoman, I was wrong. I have a foul mouth. I'm not human. I beg you to spare me. Sun Yini let out a light laugh. To Wang Hao, that laugh was more terrifying than the roar of a demon. "Spare you." She took out her phone and dialed a number. "Hello, legal department? Initiate a commercial crime investigation into Tianhe Group's CEO, Li Jianguo. Also, sue project manager Wang Hao for embezzlement and misappropriation of funds. Yes, I want them to rot in jail." The voice on the other end of the line answered respectfully, "Yes, Chairwoman." Hearing his name, Manager Li's legs gave way, and he too knelt, ending up in a row with Wang Hao. Wang Hao completely broke down, collapsing to the floor as the smell of urine filled the air. He had actually pissed himself out of fear. I watched this dramatic scene with a heart as calm as still water, even feeling a slight urge to laugh. "So you like to show off, huh? Look where it got you." Walking out of the hotel, I got into the familiar Bugatti. As I watched the night scenery fly by outside the window, I finally made up my mind. I had to get to the bottom of this. The atmosphere in the car was even heavier than last time. I didn't say a word, just quietly looked at Sun Yini. She seemed to have sensed my mood. The car moved slowly, her fair fingers gripping the steering wheel tightly. "Dad," she began in a small voice, trying to break the silence. I cut her off. "Stop the car." My voice wasn't loud, but it was unusually firm. Sun Yini froze for a moment, but still obediently pulled the car over to the side of the road. I turned and looked directly into her eyes. "Sun Yini, I'll ask you one last time. Who exactly are you? Stop lying to me about some small company or being lucky. If you don't tell me the truth today, I'll act as if I don't have a daughter." I said these words harshly. I knew it was hurtful, but if I let her keep fooling me like this, I, her father, would become a complete joke. Sun Yini's eyes reddened again, but this time she didn't cry. She just looked at me quietly for a very, very long time. Then she took a tablet out of the glove compartment, unlocked it, opened a file, and handed it to me. "Dad, see for yourself." I took the tablet. The screen displayed the latest issue of the Forbes Global Billionaire list. On the cover was a face I couldn't be more familiar with. It was Sun Yini. She was dressed in a smart business suit, her gaze sharp, her aura powerful. The headline was written in giant font. "The youngest 100 billion female tycoon in history, the mysterious empress of the Eastern business world. Sun Yini." My fingers trembled as I scrolled down. The Ninin Group, a mysterious company founded only 8 years ago, with business spanning dozens of cutting-edge fields such as artificial intelligence, biomedicine, and new energy, has a valuation that has surpassed $1 trillion. Its founder, Sun Yini, had a net worth that is a mystery, conservatively estimated to exceed $50 billion. Her empire spans the globe. The Tianhe Group is but the most insignificant piece in her commercial puzzle. I felt my breathing stop, blood rushed to my head, and my mind went blank. 100 billionaire? $1 trillion group? My daughter, the one who only knew how to act cute and asked me to buy her cotton candy? I looked up, staring at Sun Yini in disbelief. She bit her lip, cautiously observing my expression. "Dad, are you angry?" I opened my mouth, my throat dry. "So, when I was giving you 2,000 yuan a month for living expenses, what were you thinking?" Sun Yini lowered her head, like a child who had done something wrong. "I was thinking that the money Dad gave me must be saved up. It's Dad's love for me, and not a single cent should be spent carelessly." "Me?" I pointed to a picture of a Bugatti on the tablet. Then this car. I bought it myself. But I told you a friend gave it to me because I was afraid you'd think I was spending money recklessly. Me, I felt like I was about to have a heart attack. The little white rabbit I raised for 12 years. When did she evolve into a prehistoric T-Rex? And I had no idea at all. Just as I was struggling to digest this information, which was comparable to the Big Bang, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. Annoyed, I answered it. Hello, who is this? A sleazy and greedy man's voice came from the other end of the line. Hello, is this Lewin? I'm Sun Yin's biological father. My brow furrowed, and a wave of nausea washed over me. What do you want? Something. Of course it's something, the man said excitedly. My daughter is on TV. She's a big boss. We all saw it. We're at your door right now. Come back quickly and let us see our daughter. Immediately after, a woman's crying voice came through the phone. My daughter, my precious baby, Mommy misses you so much. Come back and let Mommy see you. This clumsy acting made my stomach churn. It was them, the pair of beastly parents who, 12 years ago, sold the 8-year-old Sun Yin to me for 20,000 yuan. They still have a nerve to show up. I turned my head to look at Sun Yin and saw her face instantly turn deathly pale, her hands gripping the steering while trembling slightly. Those eyes, which had just been filled with a powerful aura, were now filled with fear and disgust. 12 years of healing seemed to be easily shattered in this moment. The shadow of her childhood had never truly disappeared. An unknown fire suddenly shot up from my chest, burning away all my shock and confusion. To hell with the billionaire. To hell with the business queen. In front of me, she was just my daughter, the little girl who needed my protection. I pulled her into my arms and covered her ears with my hands. Don't be afraid, Ninian, Daddy is here, I said coldly to the other end of the line. You just wait. Then I hung up the phone and said to Sun Yin, turn around, let's go home. Sun Yin raised her head, a trace of vulnerability and dependence in her eyes. Daddy, don't say anything, don't think about anything, I said in an unquestionable tone. Today, Daddy will solve all your problems. The Bugatti let out a roar, drawing a beautiful arc on the road as it sped towards home. Outside the car window, the city's neon lights flashed by. I looked at the girl, still trembling slightly in my arms, and my eyes became incomparably cold. Some people don't deserve to be parents. Some debts it's time to settle. Returning to the old residential complex, I saw a crowd gathered at my doorstep from a distance. A shabbily dressed, middle-aged couple was on the ground, throwing a tantrum and wailing. Where's the justice in this world? A daughter abandons her own parents after making it big. Everyone come and see. This black-hearted Liu and has abducted my daughter and won't even let us see her. The neighbors pointed and whispered amongst themselves. Shielding Sun Yin, I squeezed through the crowd. When the couple saw us, their eyes lit up and they swarmed over like flies that had scented blood. Yin, my dear daughter, you're finally back. The woman, with tears and snot running down her face, tried to embrace Sun Yin. I stepped forward, blocking her like a wall in front of Sun Yin. Stay back. My voice wasn't loud, but it carried an undeniable authority. Seeing this, the man immediately changed his tune and pointed a finger at my nose, cursing, Lewin, you child-trafficking bastard. Give me my daughter back. I sneered. Give her back to you? 12 years ago, when you sold her to me for 20,000 yuan, why didn't you think of her as your daughter then? The man's face stiffened, then he craned his neck and retorted, That was for you to raise her on our behalf. Child support. Yes, child support, the woman shrieked along. It's been 12 years. You should give our daughter back to us. When the surrounding neighbors heard sold their daughter for 20,000, the way they looked at the couple changed. I looked at their ugly faces and pulled a bank card from my pocket. This card was the one Sun Yin had just slipped to me in the car. I tossed it in front of the couple. There's 20,000 yuan in here. No more, no less. Exactly the price you sold your daughter for back then. Take the money and disappear from my sight immediately. If I see you again, I can't guarantee you'll still be standing to spend it. The couple was stunned. They hadn't expected to receive this humiliating 20,000 yuan instead of the huge sum they had imagined. The man picked up the bank card and roared in frustration. 20,000? Are you trying to get rid of a beggar? My daughter is worth hundreds of billions now. You think you can send us away with just 20,000? No way. If you don't give us 100 million today, we're not leaving. They lay down on the ground again and began a new round of hysterics. Just then, several black Mercedes-Benz commercial vehicles drove silently into the complex and stopped downstairs. The doors opened, and a dozen bodyguards in black suits and sunglasses rushed out. They moved in perfect unison, instantly clearing the area and separating us from a couple. A female assistant in the lead walked up to Sun Yini in her high heels and respectfully handed her a document. Chairman, the parental rights termination agreement and the lifetime restraining order against them have all been processed. Sun Yini took the document and, without a glance, threw it in the couple's faces. Sign it, take the money, and get lost. If you don't sign, you won't get a single cent, and you will pay the price for your actions today. Her voice was as cold as ice. The man and woman, seeing the scene before them, were too frightened to act unreasonably any longer. The man picked up the agreement with a trembling hand. When he saw the words severance of parent-child relationship and the dense legal clauses, his face changed completely. No, we won't sign. She's our daughter. She always will be. The woman also cried out, Nien Nien, you can't be so heartless. We are your biological parents. Sun Yini looked at them, her eyes devoid of anger, only a dead, silent indifference. She turned to her female assistant and said, show them something. The female assistant nodded, opened a briefcase, and took out a laptop. She turned the computer towards the couple, and a video began to play on the screen. The video showed a dark, damp basement. An 8-year-old Sun Yini, so thin she was just skin and bones, was chained to a corner. A drunken man walked in, a belt in his hand. Cursing money-losing baggage, he whipped the girl viciously. The girl didn't cry or scream, merely staring numbly at the camera with her large eyes. From the video, the woman's shrill laughter could be heard. Hit her. Hit her harder. It would be best if you beat her to death. Save us from wasting food. Thump. And Annie from the neighborhood behind me, enraged, threw her vegetable basket, hitting the man squarely on the head. Beasts. You are simply beasts. Kill them. People like this don't deserve to live in this world. The surrounding neighbors were furious. If it weren't for the bodyguard holding them back, they would have rushed forward and torn the couple to shreds. Watching the video, the man and woman's faces were ashen white. They never imagined that their evil deeds from back then had been recorded. Sun Yini's voice sounded again, like a judgment from the depths of hell. I have already given this video to the media. If you don't sign the agreement and get out of this city by tomorrow morning, then the whole world will see how you treated your own biological daughter. At that time, you will be even more famous than you are now. The man completely broke down. He knew Sun Yini wasn't joking. With her current power, ruining their reputation would be easier than crushing an ant. He scrambled to pick up the pen and signed his name on the agreement. The woman also signed her name, crying, holding the bank card with 20,000 yuan. Amidst the curses and contempt of everyone, they were escorted out of the residential complex by the bodyguards. A farce had finally come to an end. Back at home, I poured a cup of hot water for Sun Yini. She held the cup, taking small sips, her emotions seemingly calming down a lot. Dad, she raised her head, looking at me. I'm sorry for causing you trouble again. I shook my head, sat down beside her, and gently stroked her head. Silly girl, what are you talking about? You're my daughter. Protecting you is my responsibility as a father. She leaned on my shoulder, just like the little girl from 12 years ago, seeking warmth and a sense of security. Dad, I thought I had forgotten, but seeing them, I still feel scared. It's okay now. I patted her back. It's all in the past. From now on, they will never appear in your world again. We sat like that quietly for a long time. The noise from outside the window gradually faded, and the house returned to its usual peace. I looked at the girl before me, who had grown into a business empress, and my heart was filled with mixed feelings. Is my task truly complete? I pulled her out of the abyss and gave her a bright future. But she flew too high, too far, standing above the clouds. And I am just an ordinary person on the ground. Nien Nien, I said softly, what are your plans for the future? Sun Yini looked up, her beautiful eyes shimmering with a light I couldn't understand. Dad, I want you to quit your job. I don't want to see you having to endure the looks of others for a salary of a few thousand yuan. I don't want to see you being ridiculed by those boring people anymore. She held my hand, her tone incredibly serious. Dad, you raised me for 12 years. For the days to come, let me take care of you, okay? I looked at her and suddenly smiled. All the confusion, shock, and discomfort vanished in that moment. So what if she's a billionaire? So what if she's a business empress? She's still my daughter. The little girl who would cry over a single word from me. The good baby who would treasure the pocket money her dad gave her. My mission isn't over. It has just taken a different form. My new mission is to be the harbor behind this empress, the only place where she can let down all her disguises and defenses. I took out my phone, opened my social media, and edited a new post. Hello, everyone. My name is Lewin. Starting today, I am officially unemployed. Full-time job, being supported by my daughter. Click send. I looked at Sun Yini beside me. She was smiling at me sweetly, as if she owned the whole world. Yes, my heart is at peace. Dear, could you rate this story in the comment section? On a scale of 1 to 10, please. If you like this kind of story, please follow.